Turn us around. Keep on walking. Keep on walking. Turn us around. Turn us around. Turn us around. Don't let nobody. Turn us around. Gonna keep on walking. Keep on walking. Find your freedom land. Turn us around. Turn us around. Turn us around. There ain't no pride. Turn us around. Gonna keep on walking. Keep on talking. Walking out the freedom land. Turn us around. Turn us around. Turn us around. I'm gonna let nobody turn us around. Keep on talking.
Anyone who needs ADA, please come up.
All right, all right.
Springfield,
For those who
Illinois.
need ADA, we have an ADA section.
Now one step back.
What is ABA?
Not one step back. Not one step back.
Not one step back.
Not one step back.
Not one step back.
Not one step back.
Not one step back. Here, we can let you in once you get. We might have to let him in over there.
Not one step back.
In Springfield, Illinois.
All right, hello everybody. We're gonna sing some songs together. Is that all right with you? Yeah. It's beautiful, beautiful music as you guys are walking up. Thank you, everyone. We're gonna start singing a song that we're calling "Hatred." We're gonna tear your kingdom down. There's no room for hatred in this movement. And you're gonna get it as we go along. Listen for it. It says, hatred, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Hatred, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. I need y'all to help me with that part. And then it goes, you've been building your kingdom all over the land. Hatred, what are we gonna do? We're gonna tear your kingdom down. Hatred, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Say it with me now. Hatred, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. You've been building your kingdom all over this land. Yes, I said, hatred, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. And poverty, we're gonna tear that kingdom down. Say, poverty, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Say, poverty, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. You've been building your kingdom all over this land. Yeah, poverty, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Racism, we're gonna tear that kingdom down too. Said racism, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Said racism, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Yeah, it's been building a kingdom all over this land. Racism, now we're gonna tear your kingdom down. We're gonna tear down that kingdom of greed too. Greed, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Oh, greed, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Yes, we will. You've been building your kingdom all over this land. Oh, greed, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. One more time, hatred. Who said us? I'm gonna be quiet on the guitar right here. We're gonna sing it together. I want to hear you sing it. I want to hear you sing it with me. Hatred, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Hatred, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. You've been building your kingdom all over this here land. Said hatred, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. Well, we're going to set it right again. We're going to set right these inequities, this hatred. And we're going to be loud for the poor people of this country. Well, there's a great trouble in this land. Yes, we're gonna set it right again. There's a great trouble in this land. Yeah, we're gonna set it right again. There's a great trouble in this land. We're gonna set it right again. I said we're gonna set it right again. You're gonna help me set it right here with this song. Trouble's been brewing too many years. I said we're gonna set it right again. Trouble's been brewing too many years. We're gonna set it right again. Trouble's been brewing for too many years. We're gonna set it right again. I said I'm gonna set it right. We are gonna set it right again. We need justice all across the land. We're gonna set it right again. We need justice all across this land. We're gonna set it right again. Said we need justice all across this land. We're gonna set it right again. We're gonna set it right, oh, set it right again. Now we're building a movement across this land. You gonna help me sing that set it right again? We're building a movement across the land. We're gonna set it right again. We're building a movement across the land. We're gonna set it right again. We're building a movement all across the land. We're gonna set it right again. We're gonna set it right again. We're gonna set it right again.
All right. Can everybody hear the sound of my voice? We all look beautiful this morning. Good morning, good morning. I just have a couple of announcements. One, if you are a speaker, I need you up this way, and we have seats. So if you are one of the speakers, please come toward the podium and make sure that I see you. Okay, and then I want to point out that there are porta potties over here to my right, very clean porta potties, and there are water stations on each corner. So if you need to get water and refresh yourself, please. Okay.
All right, I want y'all to repeat after me. I want y'all to say, stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. I want you to say it like you mean it. Say, stand up, fight back. Stand up, fight back. When the people are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
I said, when the people are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Say, when the poor are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Say, when the poor are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Say, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Say, when our families are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Say, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
I said, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
That's right. All right, we're getting ready to hear from our speakers. I want y'all to make some noise for all of our speakers. Thank you so much for being here. This is going to be an amazing opportunity. Now, one thing I want y'all to understand, this is the Poor People's Campaign. We are representative not just of those of us who are standing here right now, but for all of our communities that have been suffering for too long. Ain't that right? So this ain't a spectator sport, y'all. We all in this together. Ain't that right? All right. So our voices together is our power. We raise our voices together because forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back. All right. I just want to also make sure that if you need to sit, we have a few chairs. So if you need to sit, please come on through. If you need to sit, and if you rotate out, that's fine. So I just want to make sure. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. When I say forward together, you say not one step back. Okay, here we go. Forward together. I said forward together. I said forward together. All right. All right. My name is Sheila Garland Olaniran. I'm a member of the Illinois Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. I have been so honored to work with and volunteer with the dozens of people who have made this day happen. It's happening all across the country. We're beginning to rise up. But in opening and welcoming, I want to do something just a little bit different. I want to do a different welcome today as we stand under the statue of Abraham Lincoln and in front of this Capitol, which are both symbols of justice and democracy, but both are symbols that are fraught with history, with a history of white supremacy and deep historical political divisions. Today, our gathering here, we hope, will usher in a new era where we will no longer be shackled by the propaganda of division, but that we will grow to be a united force, that new and unsettling force that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke about nearly 56 years ago as he launched the first Poor People's Campaign. As we gather in this sacred space to lift up and speak in a unified voice that poverty is the fourth leading cause of death in the richest country on earth, this is morally reprehensible and just plain wrong. So I want us to take a moment of silence to acknowledge the 47,000 lives in this country that have been lost as a direct result of poverty since January 1st, 2024. I want us to take a moment to also acknowledge the tens, perhaps hundreds of thousands of lives lost since January 1 across this globe as this country and others wage senseless war. War, poverty, environmental and ecological devastation, racism, the distorted moral narrative of religious nationalism are senseless, especially when we consider that we live during a time of extraordinary abundance. I want us to take a moment of silence to acknowledge that gathering here is a moment of deep resurrection for the values and the ideas we hold dear, and that our presence here today has and will have a profound impact. Please, everyone, if you just bow your heads, close your eyes, whatever you do, just a moment of silence to remember why we're here. Amen, amen. All right. So I'm going to invite Carlos. Carlos, you're supposed to be helping me. Where are you? All right. All right. So, yeah, you guys are coming up. We're talking about why we're going to pray. Okay, I'm so sorry. We're going to invite our own Reverend Susan Phillips. Reverend Phillips is going to give us our opening prayer and welcome.
Thank you, Reverend.
I am grateful to see so many friends here this morning and meet so many more. The wisdom is that we can't know where we're going if we don't know where we've been. And so it seems appropriate on this morning to acknowledge the people who have been the ancestral caretakers of this land and are still our neighbors today. So I want to acknowledge the Potawatomi, the Miami, the Saca-Meskwaki, the Oceti-Sakowin-Sioux, the people of this land with whom we still work and from whom we still learn. May we be blessed in this work together. I invite you into this space for prayer or meditation in whatever way works for you. So if you are an atheist or an agnostic or a Buddhist or Baha'i or Christian of any flavor or variety, if you are Jewish or Latter-day Saints or Muslim or Sikh or Unitarian Universalist, you are welcome. Represent. Or the Presbyterians, woo! Use whatever these next few moments in ways that bless you. I have been moved by the words and wisdom of Lilla Watson, an Aboriginal artist, educator, and activist who said, "If you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. If you have come here because your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together." No matter your religious tradition, ethical perspective, or spiritual practice, may these next few moments bless you. We are here seeking the divine in every face and in every aspect of creation. We are here because we recognize injustice in every day and every place. We are here because we believe in love. We are here because we trust another way is possible. We are here because we know that we are stronger together than separated. We are here because we rely on the wisdom of Indigenous ancestors and neighbors who live in balance with all our relatives. We are here together, believing, trusting, knowing, relying on our unity in love. So, Holy Spirit of all that is, break hardened hearts and bind up the broken ones. Move us in ways that weave us together in community. Inspire us to mobilize, organize, register, and empower each to vote their conscience for the sake of the most vulnerable among us and for the sake of all of us. Let us work together for the liberation of all. Amen and Ashe.
My name is Carlos Rodriguez. I'm one of the tri-chairs for the Illinois Poor People's Campaign. Please turn to the person next to you and say, "Thank you for working hard to transform this nation." All right, as you know, this is only one day of action. March 2nd is an affirmation of our ongoing work to build this movement, to shift the political narrative and build power among the poor and dispossessed. It's a launch of 40 weeks of mobilizing, organizing, registering, and educating poor and low-income voters for a movement that votes. It's time for our policies, politics, and legislation to meet the needs of the millions of the poor and low-wealth people in one of the wealthiest nations in the world. Justice is coming, and you're here to make it happen. We'll be amplifying the voices of poor and low-wealth people. As many of you know already, we do not have elected politicians that come here to speak. They can come to our events. They're welcome to watch, but they're not allowed to speak. It's time that we amplify the voices of the poor and low-wealth people of this country.
We're gonna make sure that we have, the tri-chairs are gonna come up. They're gonna go into a little more detail. I want you to meet the people. We have a lot of people who have taken on leadership in the process of pulling this event together. I just wanna make sure that everyone knows that this is happening in 32 capitals across the country. And I want you to know that in Illinois, for the first time since we launched this campaign, the media is talking about poverty. That's why we're here. We will not be ignored anymore. So you're at ground zero of building that movement that will begin to change the structures of power and create policies that eliminate the burden and load of poverty for 140 million of our brothers and sisters in this country. They can no longer say that this is an individual issue when 140 million of us are poor and low wealth, when 36% of us in the state of Illinois alone are poor and low wealth, but more importantly, 25% of our voters in the state of Illinois who are poor and low wealth. We are going to be reaching out and organizing that unsettling force as we come to the ballot in November and March and really vote our values. We've got to have these people speaking up about the issue of poverty. So I want to welcome our poet laureate of Springfield, Shatria Smith. Is Shatria here? Shatria? Oh, there she is. I'm sorry. Come on up. Okay, tri-chairs. I'm sorry. I'm out of line. Sorry. And I got tri-chairs. Put me back in line. So we're all in this. So I got the tri-chairs. I have Reverend Susan Phillips. I have Carlos Rodriguez. And I have Jessica Motsinger, who are going to come up and give you a welcome as the tri-chairs of the Illinois Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up today, this Saturday. It's beautiful outside. And the only thing that can make it any better is if I had a chance to speak with each and every one of you coming out here today. So, my name is Jessica Motsinger. I am proud to be a tri-chair for the Illinois Poor People's Campaign. I'm also a disabled veteran and a mother, a proud mother to a trans son and another daughter on the spectrum, and they both attend public school, and they know we're here, and they're rooting for us, and they love every one of you because you are what stands between all this hate, the love, and what we can do to defeat poverty. The poverty is a policy choice. When we say it's systemic, they have passed laws, regulations, and legislation that oppresses, degrades, neglects, poisons our communities with little to no regard and zero accountability. As a military veteran, I'm also a third-generation Camp Lejeune toxic water victim. I lost my mother when I was 11. And the reason why I love this movement, my personal motivation for being involved in making this state and this country better, is because I have been at the boot heel of corporations, laws, legislations. I found myself depending on relatives and aunts, couches, and sometimes sleeping in my car until I made it to age 21. I joined the Navy when I had no birth certificate. You want to know who's keeping our military going? The militarism that we're fighting against? That all-volunteer force, where do you think they get it from? Our poor. They're feeding off of our poor like some sick tribute. Your kid can't afford to go to college? Well, we'll send them to be enlisted. And the best thing yet is, just like they dump on our poor communities, they dump on those enlisted military. Look outside any Army base, any Marine Corps base, any Navy base. You will find Superfund sites. You will find poor neighborhoods, astronomical interest rates of 80% and more. You'll see those cash title places and locations. You'll see strip clubs. But what you won't see, especially in Virginia and those other towns where they like to brick off the nice houses from the rest of us, Well, I'm here to say we're America. We represent the United States. We are the poor, the low wealth, the low wage. America runs on us. And you see the hatred that we're bringing? Because they're scared of us. They're not laughing anymore. They see that we are demanding policy change by voting. This isn't a one and done thing. We are coming back next week to speak with these legislators because we are not going anymore. We won't be silent anymore. And we're coming to your doorstep and we're going to defeat poverty. 4 out of every 10 Illinoisans are living in poverty and we're going to change that. So thank you. God bless. Forward together.
When I say what do we want, y'all say justice for the poor. What do we want? Justice for the poor. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice for the poor. When do we want it? Now. I said, what do we want? Justice for the poor. When do we want it? Now. That's right.
Y'all are gonna get tired of hearing me say I'm Susan Phillips. I pastor First Presbyterian Church and I serve this community. I'm on the leadership team for the Springfield Coalition on Dismantling Racism. I'm on the board for the Interfaith Association, and it is my honor to serve this year as one of the 3 tri-chairs for the Illinois Poor People's Campaign. The original Poor People's Campaign was led by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968 to demand economic justice and human rights for poor Americans of diverse backgrounds, all of us. These efforts were recreated 50 years later in 2018 by the Reverend Dr. William Barber and the Reverend Dr. Liz Theo Harris as the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival to address institutional poverty, yes? Systemic racism, yes? Ecological devastation, yes? Denial of health care? Militarism and the bloated war economy? And the false moral narrative of religious nationalism? We are here today because we live in the richest country in the history of the world, and poverty is the 4th leading cause of death, according to research published in the Journal of American Medical Association. That means our unjust policies and inequitable practices are deadly. People die because we pay less than living wages. We deny equal access to healthcare, education, and housing. We destroy our shared environment. And we rely on violence rather than building peace. These policy choices result in death of our people. The only things more deadly than poverty in the U.S. are heart disease, cancer, and smoking. The idea that these injustices are not real, or that they are necessary, or that they can't be changed is a lie. It's a lie. This is the false moral narrative we cannot accept. The truth is, we have enough for everyone. We have enough for everyone. We have enough for everyone. So today, we call on all elected leaders in the Illinois House and Senate to do justice, end poverty, preserve our environment, and build peace. The Poor People's Campaign is nonpartisan. That means we will work with and hold all elected leaders accountable to the needs of poor and low-wealth people in our state. In Illinois, poor and low-income people make up 36% of our population. This does not have to be our reality. We can make different choices. We can work to end poverty. We can reduce the number of people who die because of poverty. We can do this by working together from a united moral center across faith traditions and ethical perspectives. We are a resurrection, not an insurrection. We have enough for everyone. I have watched the harm done in recent years by COVID, climate change, violence, and the loss of civil rights by neighbors, voters, workers, and those seeking reproductive health care. I am grateful to live in Illinois rather than nearby states that have been my home most of my life. I feel safer living in Illinois, and I thank leaders, residents, and voters who have prioritized the health and well-being of our communities. LGBTQIA+ people are safer here than in other states. Those seeking reproductive health care have more secure options in Illinois. Illinois has taken action to prevent gun violence. Illinois has ended the practice of jailing people simply because they can't pay bail. And still, we can do better. 36% live in poverty and low wealth. We have enough for everyone. We have enough for everyone. Last week, our legislators presented our state budget. Budgets are moral documents. They spell out that which we prioritize and speak about who is left out. The Illinois Poor People's Campaign calls on our elected officials not to leave out anyone's needs and to build a more sustainable, equitable, and just future for everyone. The truth is, we have enough for everyone. We have enough for everyone. So thousands of people will gather today at more than 30 state capitals demanding human rights for all people. Voting rights, civil rights, workers' rights, yes? Yes! Demanding our elected officials work to end the poverty we've created, yes? Yes! Demanding real responses to climate change and ecological destruction, yes? Yes! Demanding equal access to healthcare, education, and housing, yes? Yes! As a person of faith and a Christian, I believe all people are created in the image of God. As a U.S. citizen, I believe all people are created equal. As a student of liberation, I believe the wisdom of our ancestors that none of us are free until all of us are free. So we reject the false moral narratives that we don't have enough. We reject the lie that only some of us can thrive. We reject the untrue claims of superiority of some and inferiority of others. We reject that the injustices of the world are necessary. The truth is, we have enough for everyone. So today we gather united in our purposes and lift one another's voices. We center the experiences of poor and low wealth people. We will be guided by their wisdom and seek the well-being of all. We will be meeting with legislative leaders later this week, and we will hold them accountable in person and with our votes, yes? Yes! The truth is, we have enough for everyone's needs. We have enough for everyone's needs. We just don't have enough for everyone's greed. As a nation, we have not yet chosen to build a truly just society. But we can change our policies and practices to create a world of liberty and justice for all by mobilizing, organizing, and voting to end poverty. We are stronger together, leveraging our voting power. So we go forward together.
Not one step back.
Thanks.
Let's give it up again for the Reverend Susan Phillips. I've got the wonderful responsibility of bringing gratitude to this space today. The first thing I would like to do is have the coordinators for the Illinois Poor People's Campaign, please put your hands up. I want a special shout out to Megan Drilling, who actually organized this event. Yeah, Megan. And I want to thank our partners. Without our partners, there would not be an Illinois Poor People's Campaign. After I say the name of our partner, please yell out, thank you. Illinois Union of the Homeless. Thank you. Sierra Club. Cascade. Thank you. Indivisible Metro East. Thank you. Faith in Place. Thank you. Sierra Club. Thank you. The Greater Springfield Interfaith Alliance. Thank you. Resistor Sisters. Thank you. Ministerial Alliance of Springfield. Thank you. Live Free. Thank you. Our fiscal sponsor, A Just Harvest. Thank you. Respond Now. Thank you. SEIU. Thank you. And some of our folks that helped us with this event today, especially doing voter registration, the League of Women Voters. Yeah. Did you say thank you to the League of Women Voters? Thank you. The Southeast Environmental Task Force. Thank you. And one of our newest partners, One Fair Wage. Thank you. Appreciate y'all being here with us. Thank you.
Let me hear forward together. I said forward together. I said forward together. All right, we about to give y'all a little bit more music. Y'all ready for some more music? All right, I love it, I love it. So we got some songs to remember. We want to hear your voices join in because we want to feel Springfield at our state capitol. Whose state capitol?
Our state capital.
I said, whose state capitol?
Our state capital.
That's right. So we gonna fill this whole place with our voices, all right? All right, let's go. Get it, Nick.
This one's called Everybody's Got a Right to Live. I hope some of you all know this one. I'm going to adjust this, guys. Sorry. All right. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. We say poverty no more. We want justice for the poor. Everybody's got a right to live. They got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to love. Oh, we say poverty no more. We want justice for the poor. Everybody's got a right to love. A true dream. Everybody's got a right to dream. Everybody's got a right to dream. We say poverty no more. We want justice for the poor. Everybody's got a right to dream, to learn. Everybody's got a right to learn. Everybody's got a right to learn. We say poverty no more. We want justice for the poor. Everybody's got a right to learn.
All right, we're gonna break it down like this. Everybody's got a right to live, to live. Everybody's got a right to love, to love. Everybody's got a right to dream,
To dream.
Everybody's got a right to learn,
To learn.
Everybody's got a right to live,
To live.
Everybody's got a right to love,
To love.
Everybody's got a right to dream,
To dream.
Everybody's got a right to come out.
Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. We say poverty no more. We want justice for the poor. Everybody's got a right to live.
All right, let's give it up for our next speaker.
Springfield folks know our poet laureate, Shatria Smith. You know she shows up whenever there is a justice need. She brings the art, the voice, and the justice. You know Shatria, so welcome her to this space. She's gonna lead and move us.
I love you. I love you. First, giving honor to God, my guardians and my ancestors that has helped us to get this far. But we have a mighty long way to go. When I say pray for, you say justice. Pray for. Justice. Pray for. Justice. Pray for. Justice. When I say crisis, you say unity. Crisis. Unity. Crisis. Unity. Crisis. Unity. When I say fair wage, you say compassion. Fair wage. Compassion. Fair wage. Compassion. When I say equal rights, you say our rights. Equal rights. Our rights. Equal rights. Our rights. When I say work for, you say justice. Work for. Justice. Work for. Justice. I am a linguistic, embossed, conscious poet. I don't get paid enough, but I am still learning through it. That I must evaluate our oppression in succession by understanding our history and my history of being a favored, black, queer woman in America. Buckle in. This cast iron skillet has a heavy spin. Poverty can easily be equated to overt miscarriage of justice, putting the onus of responsibility on us as we pay for this malice. Profit-driven biases co-signed by accepted political masses, a social construct by means of systemic classists. Capitalism is the master who won't tend to the crop, denying our need for fair wages, equitable housing, and lower health care costs. Those in line to be a prophet with abundant, ill-gotten, lied-upon profits end. Until the bandage is lifted, the moral message is shifted, there is no recourse to stop it. Forward together, not one step back. We must form alliances with each other and stand against the nonsense. Pass legislation to adhere to the court-ordered defense. By our nonviolent effort to work together to bring about justice and equality, like our foremothers who bore others, teaching the breath of humanity and decency so we can achieve without impunity. Forward together, not one step back. Also, and most notably, when this dichotomy of systemic and Stockholm repeats, I know that Jesus, he died for me, standing for sanctity because he knew that we do not deserve strife. From this moment is rooted in a long history to stand for our rights. For me and for you, no law of the land will make this untrue. Together, we go forward because we will not step back. Today is the day of days in this forced moral air condition, financial redirection, mental detention, unity infringement, and human worth detention. This unilateral disdain for education of our spiritual migration of hope, help, and love. I am, we are, by your efforts and lack thereof, by nurture, by nature, and all of the above. Forward together. Our questioning spirits, our thought-provoking moments. This moral movement is a positive and powerful omen to stand for our growth, our life, whether it is holding it or folded. piecing together the fabric from layman to yeoman. Forward together. There is no reason for this juxtaposed plurality. It is time to come together and pray with prayer and action to show the community that we are strong and we stand with those in history, to make it clear that we can vote with morality. I am a linguistic embossed conscious poet. I don't get paid enough, but I am learning through it. Forward together. When I say human, you say kindness. Human. Human. When I say housing, you say access. Housing. Housing. When I say labor rights, you say our rights. Labor rights. Labor rights. When I say health care, you say justice. Health care. Health care. When I say morals, you say vote. Morals. 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 Forward together. Forward together. Forward together. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we're going to have just a little moment with, oh, Aaron. Aaron, come on. Oh, come on up, Aaron.
Hello, everybody. I'll give us a moment to recharge here. I'm going to ask you to do something that you often don't do at a protest, which is take out your phone, please. Everyone take out your phone with me for a moment. Thank you. Okay, what I'm going to ask you to do is to please follow us on social media. This is the best way to stay in touch with our movement so we can keep taking action. Part of building people power is building online power. So let's do it together. Everyone, if you're on Facebook, you can go and follow us. And our name is Illinois Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. If you just look up Illinois Poor People's Campaign on Facebook, you can find us. If you're on Instagram, we're there too. Illinois_PPC, that's where you can find us. We're on this thing called X. It used to be called Twitter. You can find us there too. Illinois PPC. I'll give you all a moment. Check it all out. It's all there. We're going to keep building in person, online. It's the best way for you to get connected to people around you. We'll help you make those connections. We'll help you find others in your community that feel like you do. Keep going, keep liking. The last thing I'll say, you can also get on our mailing list. If you're not on social media, if you're not that active, we will text you too. We'll make sure you get those text messages. Text MORAL to 38542. Again, text MORAL, MORAL, to 38542. And you can sign up for our mailing list that way too and get plugged in. I'll give it one more moment here. Take your last phone moments in, last seconds, and then we'll put them away so we can give some attention to all of our great speakers today. Thank you, everybody. Forward together! Forward together! Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, so we're going to get into our first speaker. I want to just give you a little bit of background. So Curtis Harris, who I've known for a long time, is a member of ADEPT. He's a member of Northside Action for Justice, Illinois Single Payer Coalition, and a member of the Illinois Council on Developmental Disabilities, and a board member of Chicagoland Autism Connection. Curtis has been a part of the disability rights movement for many years. He's also been fighting for integrated medical care for all, and for quality health care, for long-term care for people with disabilities. One of Curtis's proudest moments was the passing and signing of the Community Emergency Services Act, which led to treatment, not trauma. CESA will be a law that helps people in behavioral crisis get support from social workers, EMTs, and mobile crises instead of armed law enforcement officers. Curtis is a powerhouse, as well as reopening more than half of the closed mental health clinics in Chicago. As a person with autism, Curtis was honored to have been the first person to be enrolled in Chicago Public Schools in January of 1984, and he graduated in January of 1996. And then Curtis later fought to restore funding in CPS Special Education's budget after it was cut in 2006 and 2015. As a CAC member, Curtis advocates and advises families of autism and others in the disability community with skills such as writing bills, contacting legislators, and Congress. Curtis is the governor appointee of ICDD, and his role is to advise and educate the state on behalf of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Curtis Harris, everyone.
Good afternoon. I am Curtis Harris. I am from Chicago. I'm a black person who works with the disability community of the Illinois Single Payer Coalition. I have faced discrimination due to my disability in employment, housing, and employment. And housing. Many people with disabilities face discrimination due to race, gender, sexual orientation. Or sexual orientation. People with disabilities come in many. People with disabilities come in many varieties, including diverse, physical, mental, cognitive, and sensory categories. People with disabilities have a very high rate of unemployment, higher than most other groups. Many people with disabilities try to survive on SSI, which is $841 a month. This is when the poverty level for individuals plagued at $1,133 a month. Thus, millions of people with disabilities are forced into abject poverty. Housing is a huge problem for people with disabilities. Their income is often below the lowest apartment rental rates, forcing them into center housing, crowding together, homelessness, or forced into abysmal institutions settings. A few lucky ones may live in subsidized housing, but may have waited 10 years to get in. Many rental agencies do not want people with disabilities. Being institutionalized against one's wishes is very common. About 3 million people live in these institutions, often paid for by Medicaid. A large number of residents will prefer to live in the community but cannot get the supports. Institutional living has always been a smelly, dangerous experience, but during the pandemic was the most dangerous place of all. At Disability Health Advocates, we support a universal, high-quality, ethical system of health care called Medicare for All. This universal system operates successfully in dozens of countries and gets better results than the U.S. for-profit system. In the U.S., 45,000 die each year due to lack of insurance. People with disabilities rely on Medicaid but face barriers to care like providers who refuse to take it. We are given poor quality care due to low reimbursement rates and face stigma that comes with a program for the poor. Medicaid drops when you become employed has been a big barrier to employment. In our advocacy, we have had some success. We not only want people with disabilities to get the same health care as everyone else, but also have a national program of long-term care for all who need assistance, including Medicare for all. The current bills in the House and Senate have added long-term care to the Medicare for all bills. This is due to our advocacy. However, we want to make sure that access to home and community-based services are top priority over institutional care. Building a society that addresses the needs of children, seniors, people with disabilities, and all others who struggle needs to be our goal. Millions of people in the U.S., including many people with disabilities, will be lifted out of poverty by the passage of Medicare for all. We say everybody in, nobody out, health care for all, and thank you.
All right, that's what I'm talking about, all right? We represent in the Poor People's Campaign. Okay, the next person I want to bring up is Danielle Webster. We just met Danielle not too long ago. She's an Army veteran. She's a single mother who's experienced homelessness, food insecurity, and domestic violence firsthand. Danielle aged out of the foster care system after a decade in care. She's currently, however, enrolled in UIS in legal studies with a goal to go to law school. Come on, everybody, put your hands together for Danielle.
Good morning. I'm probably here for the worst reason because I lost my dad, but on the same note, at least I'm here. And we found a way for him to be here too, so there's that. My father died while being homeless, and that's an injustice that I, as his daughter, cannot take, because across this nation, there's so many people that can't help being in poverty, but their families, co-workers, and neighbors point fingers at them and blame them as a personal failure. Drug addiction and mental illness are nothing that can be controllable. They can be addressed with systematic health care and, sorry, it can be addressed, but solving them isn't simple. When it comes to my father, my family loved him, but it was problematic because of his addictions. Anyone would gladly tell you stories about him. I wish I had more time to share some of them myself. At the end of the day, his death occurred not because of violence, the drug addiction, or mental illnesses he had. He was afraid to seek health care. He had sudden kidney failure with sepsis. And there's way too many people across this nation that experience it, and it gets to the point where they cannot be assisted. Their lives cannot be saved. A person I knew in Peoria, Robert Moore, died of a similar thing this past summer, less than 6 months after I lost my dad. And that's not fair.
That's not fair.
We have people around the country in elected positions who point the finger at individuals in poverty, and they want to blame them. They say that we're denying taking their health care, we're denying resources, and that's not the truth.
That's not the truth.
Say it.
I found out my dad died from his brother. He called me and said, "David's dead." That's how I found out my parent was gone. And when I called the hospital to find more details out, the nurse asked, "Were you aware your father was homeless?" The audacity of her to judge a man she didn't even know, except for in his dying breath. Individuals in poverty today deserve better. We deserve better. We say poverty no more. We want justice for the poor.
Let's give it up one more time. Yes.
That's what we say, justice for the poor, poverty no more. Poverty no more. We do have to move on. Oh, I got my sister Jackie. All right, wait a minute. I got something to say about Miss Jackie. Where is she? Jackie, oh, there you are. So Jackie, who's also a coordinator in the Poor People's Campaign, is Vice President and Director of External Relations for Service Employees International Union, Healthcare Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, and Kansas. In this capacity, she directs activities that support and foster positive relations and collaboration with faith leaders and congregations, community organizations, residents, elected officials, and key stakeholders in support of SEIU HCIIMK, workers' rights, as well as a variety of shared community interests and issues. Jackie works to ensure that SEIU HCIIMK establishes and maintains relationships in the broader community as a committed partner. Yes, she does. Come on, Jackie. Come on. Come give it up for Jackie Algie.
Woo! All right, I need another yell. Yeah. Woo! So I want to take a moment, please, to acknowledge some other people that are here that came down with us and came from other places because they believe in the purpose and the cause. The African Descent Citizens Reparations Committee, of which I am a proud committee person, and our Vice Chair Taylor, is here with her husband. Please acknowledge her. Thank you very much. Okay. And we also have members of the Bring Chicago Home Coalition that are here. Yes, because we align with the Poor People's Campaign when we say that housing is a human right. Isn't that right? Okay. So it's been said that Dr. King started Poor People's Campaign in 1968 with other civil rights leaders, right? Right. But we also know that it ended then. Why? Because he was tragically murdered. And it kind of fizzled a little bit. But guess what? We're back. We're back. So, I will tell you this. Oh, you got me? Oh, I got it. Thank you, darling. Okay. But then, join me in saying, but then. All right. The Bishop Barber and the Reverend Theo Harris got together with people out here that are here today and people all over this country and said, oh no, we got to start this all over again. You know why? Because this country will not do people like it's doing. One of the wealthiest countries in the world. Shame on us. Shame on them. And guess what? When we say we won't be silent anymore, that's serious. It's for real. We will not be silent anymore. We will not be silent to the oppressions of poverty, low wages, and lack of health care. I mean, you just heard what Danielle said. There's no reason that her father should have gone through that. No one else, right? We have people that work every day. They work every day. But guess what? Some of them are homeless. You know why? Because they don't get paid livable wages. Shame on this country. They're good enough to provide essential services, but not essential enough to be paid fair wages. That ain't right. That ain't right. So I tell you, I'm here standing proudly to represent labor, the labor movement, but more proud to represent SEIU. We have over 200,000 members in this state, right? Collectively with our state council, and 90,000 with our local. And we are here to fight. We've been here since the beginning of Illinois Poor People's and the Poor People's Campaign since 2018. And guess what? We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. So one thing that we want to do and want to just do and make a real statement about, and that is that we've got to shift the narrative. We have to shift the narrative and transform our society into a society that will take care of its own. Do you agree? Yeah. Okay, you can shout louder than that. That train is blocking you out. Do you agree? Yeah. Okay, all right. So I'm going to say what others have said already. Join me. Shout it out. Forward together. Woo!
So we'll wait for the train to pass, but okay. So the next person that we want to call up is the Reverend Dr. Clay L. Beckwith. The Reverend Dr. Clay L. Beckwith is a native of St. Louis, Missouri. He's a '93 graduate of Knoxville College with a degree in biological sciences, who for 19 years worked as a senior microbiology manager at Missouri Analytical Laboratories. That's amazing. His formative years in ministry were spent in the AME, the African Methodist Episcopalian Zion Church, where he received his ordination orders as a deacon in 2008 and as an elder in 2010. And after much prayer and consultation, Dr. Beckwith transitioned to the United Methodist Church and has served Grace United Methodist Church located in Springfield, Illinois, since 2022. He was conferred with the Master's of Divinity degree with Eton Theological Seminary and graduated with honors from Colgate Rochester Crozer Divinity School. Why do they have so many names? With a Doctor of Ministry degree. I bring to you Reverend Dr. Carrie L. Beckwith.
If you are glad to be a part of the Poor People's Campaign, let's make some noise in this place this afternoon. Amen. We stand here today, beloved, I believe as the embodiment of what Dr. King calls the beloved community. But yet while we are here today, I am saddened to report that in these United States of America, poverty is the fourth leading cause of death. This is simply unacceptable and immoral. It is frustrating to know that even today, billions of dollars can be sent for wars, but you don't have enough money to feed the poor. There are not enough resources that can be sufficiently allocated for those who need them the most. How is it that in this country, these United States of America, many citizens struggle from day to day with simply making ends meet? How is it in these United States of America, many work more than 40 hours a week, but yet struggle to put food on their tables? Our young people struggle with focus in the school systems because they come to school hungry. Why? Because they did not receive sufficient food while they were at home the evening before. There is something diabolically wrong with these pictures that unfortunately are too common in this country. The Bible tells us clearly in Deuteronomy 15, there need be no poor people among you. Let me say that again. There need be no poor people among you. If someone can get on a plane and fly to space on a whim, then the poor can be fed. If companies can buy corporations for billions and billions of dollars, then poor people can be fed. Poverty and low wages are bad and destructive political choices. And I want to be clear. We simply cannot be disengaged anymore with the voting process. If we do not make our voices known through our votes, we will continue to be plagued by the widespread effects of poverty. Hold our elected officials accountable as they come to our churches, as they come to our organizations and civic groups seeking our votes. We put them in office. They have the responsibility to work for us and serve us so that our needs are met. Dr. King said at the end of the Selma to Montgomery March, the great fear of greedy aristocracy in the nation was for the masses of Negro and poor whites to come together and form a voting bloc that could change the economic architecture of the nation. In today's political landscape, it is white, black, Hispanic, Latinx, Asian, and indigenous people who now represent more than 80 million voters and over 20 million who have not yet voted. Let me give you real quick the breakdown of the 138 million poor and low-wage people that are represented in America. 24 million are black and African American. 38 million are Hispanic and Latinx. 66 million are white. 8 million are Asian. And 2 million are indigenous people. In the state of Illinois, 12.8% of its residents live at or below the poverty level, while 36% of its residents are poor to low wealth. Out of every 10 people that are here today, roughly 4 of you are poor to low wealth. And we know that poverty has not one specific face. It's an epidemic that cuts across ethnicities, sexualities, and genders, affecting all of us and demanding immediate attention now. Dr. King was right when he said that we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects us all indirectly. The book of Proverbs reminds us in the 29th chapter, the righteous care about justice for the poor. The righteous care about justice for the poor. And today, we stand in solidarity as brothers and sisters in the struggle, with voices uplifted, demanding justice, righteousness, and shalom for those who are hurting and suffering as a result of abject poverty. Forward together. Thank you so much.
All right, we're gonna have a little music, and then we're gonna come back. We have another group of speakers, and then we're gonna figure out how to dismiss out of here. But let's get our field musicologists. Come on, Nick, Erica, who else is there? Adam, come on now.
All right, how y'all feeling? All right. So again, we are a movement. Say, we are a movement. We are a movement. And so we don't do performances around here, okay? We do movement music, all right? There's a difference. So when we start singing, we all start singing, all right? They gonna hear all of our voices. Ain't that right? All right. Yes. Our next song is The Rich Man's House. I want y'all to follow with us.
Man's house. I took back what he stole from me. I took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. Went down to the rich man's house. Took back what he stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. Now he's under my feet.
Where? Under my feet.
Under my foot. Under my foot. Raise up system gonna walk all over me. No.
I'ma tell y'all. Well, I went down to the rich man's house and I took back what he stole from me. Took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. It's under my feet. Where? Under my feet. Where? Under my feet. Under my feet. No system gonna walk all over me. All right, all together. Went down to the Capitol and I took back what he stole from me. Took it back, took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. Went down
To the rich man's house, took back what he stole from me.
I took back.
Took back my dignity.
I took back.
Took back my humanity. And now he's under my foot. Under my foot. Under my foot. Under my foot. Ain't no system gonna walk all over me.
Well, I went down to the rich man's house and I took back what he stole from me. I took back my dignity. Took back my humanity. Under my feet.
Where? Where?
Yeah, under my feet.
Ain't no system gonna walk all over me.
I said, ain't no system, ain't no system gonna walk over me.
All right, we gotta have the sound of the movement. Theomusicology. Nick and Erica, thank you, and Adam. Okay, the next speaker is Nick Dodson. He's a housing navigator, Heartland Continuum of Care, Sangamon Valley Sierra Club chair. Nick is a community advocate and environmental activist committed to investing his labor to the greater social good. He believes that an organized group of passionate individuals can absolutely change the world. Born and raised in Central Illinois, he is dedicated to leveraging his privilege and relationships to help serve his community and the planet at large. Additionally, he knows that all voices should have a seat at the table when making important decisions for a community, and he helped pilot 2 new important policies that were the first of their kind within the continuum of care. That is the Landlord Risk Mitigation Fund and a Persons with Lived Experience Collaboration Policy, where people with lived experience are compensated for their expertise, time, and labor when participating in boards and committees. All right, Nick, come on down.
Thank you so much, everybody. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, my name is Nick Dodson, and I stand before you today not just as an environmentalist, but as a staunch advocate for collective justice. Our fight for this collective justice knows no boundaries. It encompasses the struggles of the poor, the marginalized, and the disenfranchised, just as it encompasses the fight to protect our planet from ourselves. When we talk about environmental justice specifically, we cannot divorce it from the realities of poverty. The two are deeply intertwined, woven together by the threads of systemic inequality. In communities across the globe, it is often the most vulnerable who bear the brunt of environmental degradation: the poor, the marginalized, and communities of color. Eugene Debs, former labor activist and late 19th century presidential candidate, once noted, "While there is a lower class, I am in it. While there is a criminal element, I am of it. And while there is a soul in prison, I am not free. These words resonate with me deeply because they capture the essence of solidarity. As citizens of the world, we cannot turn a blind eye to the suffering of our fellow human beings, nor can we ignore the cries of the earth itself. We are living in a time of unprecedented wealth inequality, more extreme than the infamous Gilded Period that Debs was struggling against, where a tiny fraction of population hoards unimaginable riches, while millions of people simultaneously struggle to make ends meet. And at that same time, we are facing an existential crisis in the form of climate change, a blight that threatens the very survival of our species and our planet. In Springfield, Illinois, and beyond, we see this reality play out time and time again. Toxic waste sites, like the coal ash ponds leaching directly into our shared groundwater, continue to pollute our planet. The very bones of industries like the Pillsbury plant, where cancer rates are higher than in any other zip code of our city, continue to kill us, or perhaps we'll discuss CWLP's fly coal ash release of 2021 on the northeast side of town. Whatever the topic and wherever the location, it is clear that the lack of access to clean air and water disproportionately impacts low-income communities. As might have been suspected to this point, it is not all by chance, of course, but by design. A result of a system that prioritizes profit over people and the planet. But let me be clear. The fight for environmental justice is inseparable from the fight against poverty. We simply cannot achieve one without the other. Put another way, we cannot build a sustainable future without also addressing the root causes of poverty and inequality. That's why events like this, the Poor People's Campaign, are so vitally crucial. They remind us that our struggles are interconnected, that we cannot achieve justice for the environment without also fighting for economic and social justice. We must stand together, shoulder to shoulder, in solidarity with those who are fighting for a better world. So let us on this day recommit ourselves to this fight with even greater passion and vigor. Let us demand justice for the poor, the marginalized, the oppressed. And let us be clear, consolidated voice, that basic human needs should not be privatized. Let us fight for a future where no one is left behind and where everyone has access to clean air, clean water, and a livable planet. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Nick. Can everybody hear me still? Yeah. I'm kind of, this is a bad sister I'm about to bring up. Well, everybody's bad, but I met her last year, and she's really impressive. Veronica Espina has been an adjunct faculty member of the University of Illinois at Springfield since 2001. She's also a full-time state of Illinois employee and an AFSCME union steward. Veronica is a founder, co-chair, and board president of the Springfield Immigrant Advocacy Network, the only NGO that advocates for immigrants in the state capital. In 2017, she launched the Springfield Welcoming City campaign to make Springfield a more welcoming and inclusive community where the contributions of immigrants and refugees are valued and honored by neighbors and leaders alike. Veronica is a longtime leadership team member of the Springfield Coalition on Dismantling Racism. Veronica.
I want to first acknowledge that it's very hard to be here knowing that thousands of people continue to live in the shadow and they're trafficked. Humans are trafficked and their wages every day. If you know me, I often ask, how does xenophobia, exploitation, racism, and systemic inequities happen in a world filled with just, caring, and loving people like you, who live, work, and dream for a better future? The answer is simple: capitalism, greed, and the worship of people, profit over people. Every time immigrant advocates like me are confronted with the typical divide and conquer statements such as, oh, immigrants are taking our jobs, or immigrants are draining our economy, and they're taking our public aid benefits. Many of us has just the right statistic to dismantle any shadow cast over the hard work and contributions that our immigrants bring to Illinois and our country. The statements goes like this. Did you know that there are approximately 11 million undocumented immigrants in the US who, whether they work with a Social Security number or not, contribute $13 billion into Social Security funds and about $3 billion into Medicare every year? And did you know that while unauthorized workers pay taxes and put money into our safety net systems, as long as they remain undocumented, they will never be eligible for any Social Security benefits? They will never earn retirement or unemployment or medical leave or food stamps or health insurance or disability benefits? What is wrong with this picture? Exploitation is what is wrong with this picture. And so is the expectations that immigrants and authorized workers have to labor until the day they die because of evil greed and racism, which fuel the creation of ruthless social, economic, and immigration policies. Now I want you to close your eyes and imagine. What if these 11 million people could vote? There are last 3,900 undocumented immigrants aged 65 and older in Illinois. And I want you to think about 81-year-old Gregorio Pilato, who has been working at a Chicago meatpacking plant for the last 22 years, lifting thousands of pounds of frozen meat into large containers, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, every day of the year. And even though Gregorio has heart problems, got a pacemaker, has 2 hernias, he cannot retire. You see, his 70-year-old wife, Amanda, also undocumented, is ill. So Gregorio is the sole provider. What happens if Gregorio gets fired? What will Gregorio and Amanda lose if they get evicted? Will they die on the streets, or will he die at the plant on his day shift? All of this is very possible. What about the younger populations of immigrant and Latino first generations? In Illinois, 190,000 households are behind in rent right now. 57 of them have kids. This is over 250,000 children facing eviction. The overwhelming majority of these households, 84% of them, are low income. If we compound all these statistics with the fact that 1 in 4 Latinos don't have health insurance, and the fact that immigrants are more likely to live and work in polluted communities and face disproportionately police violence, the future is grim. Unless we demand change and commit to a moral revival. The Poor People's Campaign is very clear in their message towards our immigrants, and I quote, "We are dedicated to the respect, dignity, and rights for all immigrants. From ending militarization of immigration and border enforcement, to the repeal of mandatory detention, deportation, child detention, and family separation, to ensuring full access to public welfare and social programs and permanent protection for all 11 million undocumented immigrants. We are coming together to say that everybody has the right to live and thrive in this country. So we must continue to work together united, because dismantling this system and healing together and in community are the greatest acts of love of our times. Thank you.
Let me hear forward together. Forward together. I said forward together.
Now let's say it in Spanish. Adelante juntos. Ni un paso atrás. We're gonna work on that.
You gotta get We're the campaign. We got to get a Spanish lesson in the middle of it. So thank you so much, Veronica. I just wanted to mention, Jackie asked me to mention that and acknowledge that the Illinois Democratic women have come out to stand with us. Where are you? All right. Thank you so much. And the next speaker I want to bring up is Nataki. Am I pronouncing that right? Nataki Rhodes. Nataki Rhodes is a national lead organizer for the One Fair Wage. She lives in Chicago and is a proud native. She's a former server, bartender, and tipped employee, and she's worked in the restaurant industry for over 15 years. Although she loved serving people, she could no longer endure the sub-minimum wages of $4.95 an hour, plus tips, sexual harassment, workplace injustice, discrimination on the job, and not being promoted despite her long-standing, admirable work performance. Rhodes has been seeking justice for workers and herself in the restaurant industry by working with thousands of tipped workers across the country to end the $2.13 sub-minimum wage. Nataki is featured in a documentary titled Waging Change by filmmaker Abby Ginsberg. The film has garnered numerous awards across the country, with Nataki traveling nationwide to promote it while talking to wage workers. She continues to work with the many tipped workers and coalitions and faith-based leaders to pass the One Fair Wage ordinance in Chicago. And according to her, this would undoubtedly serve as a historic landmark for Chicago to end sub-minimum wage. Nataka. Oh, there you are.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? When we fight? When we fight? When we fight? All right, so my name is Nataki Rose. I'm National Lead Organizer at One Fair Wage, fighting to end sub-minimum wage across the country, but definitely here in our state of Illinois. And I am so proud and so glad to be here with the Poor People's Campaign. I wasn't going to be here. And when I watched the documentary talk about history, and that's why it's important for us to know our history, where we're coming from and where we're going. I've been to many Poor People's Campaigns. I spoke at the Poor People's Campaign. I love Reverend Barbara. Give it up for Reverend Barbara. But one thing I didn't know until Thursday night, that the Poor People's Campaign was started by the great Dr. Martin Luther King. Okay, give it up. And so as I watched this documentary, I got more and more empowered. And I called my mentor, Jackie, my mom, Jackie LG, just spoke. I said, I'm getting on that bus. I'm going to Springfield. I have to tell my story. I have to go with my brothers and sisters that's in this struggle for the Poor People's Campaign. This is all our struggle. And so what we're here lifting up today is low-wage workers. What we're lifting up today is okay? And what we're lifting up today is 1 in 5 hungry children in USA. And that's $37 billion that's going over out of the United States, going into other countries. And so one thing that Martin Luther King, Dr. King said is we cannot remain silent. And so when we say ceasefire, ceasefire. And we should not be unapologetic with saying ceasefire, ceasefire. We don't want no wars. We need the money for us here in our United States. We suffer from poverty wages. Tip workers are the the lowest paid workers in United States. I represent 333 million tip workers here in United States. And as tip workers, as I lived on sub-minimum wage, struggling to raise my son, struggling to pay rent, evictions. I mean, it was very hard. It's very hard for tip workers to keep their apartments. We suffer from evictions. We suffer from not being able to pay our bills. And so I'm so proud to stand here, to continue to advocate, to continue to launch, to continue to fight for the unjust, unfair worker. And so I ask you all to join us in our fight. We've launched our state campaign here in our great state of Illinois. And so we're asking that everyone join us to end sub-minimum wage, to end poverty wages, to end the poverty in our state. And we can do it from all across the state, all across this country. We can demand to end poverty. And so I ask you to get out to vote. Your vote is important. Say, get out to vote. Get out to vote. It is so important that you get out to vote, register to vote. This is a crucial time for us, and we want our voices heard because we cannot be silenced. And thank you for coming out today, representing strong and well with the Poor People's Campaign. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nataka. We have another speaker. Oh, this is my brother, Bruce Perry. Okay, Bruce Perry is a social activist, longtime social activist in Chicago. He's a combat veteran of the Vietnam War. He graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York. He is the Veterans Coordinator for the National Union of the Homeless and is an organizer for the Illinois Union of the Homeless. He's a member of the coordinating committee of the Illinois Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, and works with the campaign's South Side cluster. He's retired. He lives with his wife, Tanya, a son and daughter on the South Side of Chicago. Sharon, I'm sorry. Sharon, I gave you a new wife, okay.
Thank you. As she said, let's see. My name is Bruce Perry. I'm a coordinator for the Poor People's Campaign and National Call for Moral Revival. I am also an organizer for the Illinois Union of the Homeless, partner organization of the Poor People's Campaign. I am formerly homeless myself. I'm also a Vietnam combat veteran. Upon return from Vietnam, I had severe PTSD from my combat experiences, and I was suicidally depressed. When my marriage broke up, my wife had been my financial support, and I became homeless. I was saved from homelessness by the VA, the Veterans Administration. They arranged for me to go into a 3-month inpatient PTSD program and paid me disability while I was there. Because I was a veteran, I had publicly funded VA health care. Everyone ought to have health care like that. As we know, not everyone does. Veterans and non-veterans are experiencing the brutality of homelessness on the streets. People are dying of poverty. Poverty is the 4th leading cause of death in the United States. Wayne Warren, a Vietnam combat veteran, survived the jungles of Vietnam only to come home and freeze to death on the streets of Chicago in a brutal winter. Pete just died a week ago while living on the streets. Countless others died due to extreme poverty that homelessness represents. Between 2018 and 2020, there were 4.5 million poor and low-income people in Illinois. That was 36% of the population of Illinois. That is 1 in 3 people. In this state alone, many of us are 1 paycheck, 1 medical situation, 1 financial emergency away from homelessness. We need a fundamental change in the direction of this economy, of this society. We need to change the moral narrative to one that is about social justice. We need to an end to poverty in the richest country in history, an end to systemic racism and the ecological devastation that is racking our communities, an end to the militarism dominating this society. Cuts to the nearly $1 trillion military budget would feed, clothe, house, and provide health care to meet the needs of millions and millions of people. We need change. The Poor People's Campaign and National Call for Moral Revival calls on each and every one of us not only to vote our conscience, what we know is right, but to organize among the poor and low wealth and encourage them to get out and vote their conscience. We can change the moral narrative that says resources are scarce. There's abundance. There is plenty for everyone. Right? It's a distribution that's the problem. Poverty is a policy choice. We can change the moral narrative by changing the narrators. Those most impacted by this system must lead. Our votes are our next step in changing this country. Our votes are our demands for human justice. End homelessness, end poverty, end racism, end the ecological devastation, and change the moral narrative. Forward together. Thank you.
Okay. All right, brothers and sisters, my siblings. I want to bring, this is my sister also in the struggle, Marcy Pedraza. I mean, she's got this bio, but she's just a badass. She was on the strike at UAW when the UAW went on strike. She was organizing the workers in the community. We have, we were coming out bringing firewood and food to the strikers, and they changed the narrative around what workers represent. This is not an economy for workers. It's an economy for the billionaires and the billionaires. And she stood up on her picket line and she told the truth. I want to bring to you Marcelina Pedraza.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a beautiful day to march on our state's capital. I'm proud to be here with you all and glad to be part of the Illinois Poor People's Campaign since 2019 when I went to DC. I'm a union worker, I'm a mom, I'm an advocate for environmental justice, I'm Chicana, I'm pro-choice, I'm a Chicagoan, and I stand in solidarity with the people of Palestine. I'm also a proud member of UAW, Local 551, Fort Chicago Assembly Plant. Last fall, we were on strike, as Sheila mentioned, for 27 days, but the total length of this historical stand-up strike was 46 days. This was the first time striking against the big three auto companies at the same time. Exciting, yet stressful. It was amazing to meet and talk with coworkers and build solidarity. We had a great amount of support from the community, local businesses, other unions in Chicago and beyond. We had auto workers come from Brazil to stand with us, and many elected officials came out to support. But coming out of the stand-up strike against the big three, we won a record contract with many gains and no concessions. Thank you. I'll just touch on some of them. We eliminated tiers on wages, equal pay for equal work. Imagine you're standing next to someone on the line, you're doing the same job, but you're making half the pay they are. That ain't right. So that's no longer. It's not gonna take months and months or years and years to get to top pay. And also the substantial wage increases, which are more than in the past 22 years combined. This is life-changing for many workers. Some of these newer hires, the temp workers or workers with low seniority, will see an increase in pay in 150% in the next 4 years. We restored COLA, or cost of living adjustment, which was lost in 2007 in the concessions and the bankruptcies